Welcome to the Decide to Move podcast, helping entrepreneurs like you make smart, pivotal shifts in your life and business. Tune in each episode for inspiring stories from brilliant business minds and trailblazers to find out how they made their big moves and how you can too. Now here's your host, author, speaker, business strategist, CEO, and founder of Decide to Move, Monica M. Bijou.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. It is super exciting, as always, to be with you. And today I have another amazing guest, and she's here to give you a twist on some of the things that you learn. So not only you're going to be learning about professional, but you're also going to be learning about some personal stuff, too, that you can do for your own physical health to really help you. But she's got her own journey of what she had to go through for her own pivotal shifts, and her story is truly amazing. So help me welcome Alexis Perkins. She is the CEO, so she's the owner and founder, creative director of Chair One Fitness. Hi, Alexis. How are you doing today?
Hey, Monica. I am well. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. So we've gotten to talk and connect. And I mean, like, your story is amazing. So if you can tell the listeners and the viewers where you're located and a little bit more about yourself.
All right. So I am located in Suffolk, Virginia. That's kind of like the sticks of Virginia. So closest to like Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. And basically, like you'd already mentioned, I'm the creative director and founder of Chair One Fitness. It's been a journey to get there, but I absolutely love it. So Chair One Fitness is a chair-based dance fitness program. And we offer the options to become an instructor and or enjoy our workouts. So we cover the whole spectrum of all abilities and inclusive fitness. And I love everything about that. And also just business in general.
Yeah. So let's go through the start from the beginning. Well, before we do, I got to tell you, I used to actually drive from North Carolina to Virginia almost every Sunday for church, the Norfolk area too. So I'm totally familiar with your area.
Well, you can probably come back through and then...
Exactly. Now I know who to go visit if I ever end up in that part of the world, right? Yeah. So what's been your journey? Because I know that you actually had a massive journey that you had to take to get you to the point of where you are. So let's dig into it, because it is such an amazing story.
Yeah, my story. Well, it started off, I went to Norfolk State University young and went for a communications and journalism, bachelor's in that, because I loved everything like television. So straight away out of college, I went to go work at WTKR and, quickly learned that just because you have a degree doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily make money that you can survive off of. So while I was working there, I had my son, and then I started doing just regular fitness classes just after work. After work, you go to the gym, and I stumbled into a Zumba class and literally fell in love. So not even a year after that, I was an instructor, and it sounds so simple. I work my 9 to 5, I go teach my little Zumba classes. That's it. And then ironically, things just happened and shifted. So I ended up having a YouTube channel where people got to see me doing Zumba, and I was invited to go teach what we called master classes. So I was able to teach Zumba classes in France, Italy, Serbia, Switzerland, Tokyo, all these very cool places. And I thought, wow, what a blessing to be able to do what I love and travel. I always thought that you had to make your money, find a travel buddy, and then go. I didn't know that you could get paid to go and travel. So that was really fun. And while I was doing that, I also had a local television show, no bragging rights. It wasn't NBC. It was literally the local television show in this area. So I was a local fitness lady. We were on air for about 5 years, and it was really fun. We did high intensity workouts. Out of the 5 years we were on air, we recorded 40 episodes. 38 of them were like dance fitness, and 2 of them were chair-based, because all while this big soup of different things that I was doing was going on, I also ended up teaching at a senior home. So I wanted to teach some chair-based classes on the television program too. So it was just like a vast journey of dipping and dabbling in a lot of different things. And what ended up getting me to Chair One Fitness is while we had those episodes, we noticed a change in the viewership. For the ones that were standing dance fitness, that were just popping and dancing all around, those averaged about 2,000 to 3,000 views. But when you got to the chair episodes, it jumped up to 500,000 views. And we got so much feedback about people who wanted something that was for them. It wasn't just for seniors. It was also for those who were obese or plus size and needed something to get started that wasn't so hard on their knees. It was for those who had maybe had a torn ACL, who were born with something like spina bifida, had cerebral palsy. And I was like, whoa, there's this whole world out here. So long story short, I created the program, Chair One Fitness, and I do all things with that. And I just love all things business as well. I probably left out about 10 other things that I've done between events and everything else, but it's been a whirlwind of all good things.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I absolutely love your story because of the fact that, even starting from the very beginning, when you talk about school and, people feel like, okay, I got a college degree. I'm going to get out here. I'm going to be making like 6-7 figures. I'm going to be the next star. I'll be the next big thing. And then even when it comes to like working for a TV station where they're thinking, oh, I'm going to be behind the scenes, but eventually I'm going to get up front. What was some of the things that you had to do to allow you to even get on TV? Because I know there's a lot of people who want to get seen, they want to get heard, they think that TV or something is the way to go. What was your experience when you first were starting out?
Well, I will say this. One thing that I think is really, really important, and not to get all like Holy Spirit on you, but God does play a pivotal role, because I do believe in how he kind of guides you and puts you in the right places. And I will say, from everything I've ever done, it always kind of led me to what I was doing next. And I didn't even know how it was working until it happened. And then it was like, aha. So when I was in high school, I went through the vocational program for communications first. So they had that here where your junior and senior year, you can go to VOTEC and learn a specialty. And I had done television production. So I knew everybody at the local station anyway, because I was a student there. And so by the time I got to Norfolk State, I was already 2 years ahead of everybody else. And then I went through their whole communications. So when I started teaching my Zumba class, the local school channel had a program, and they were like, oh, what is this new thing, Zumba? Can we do a special on your class? I said, sure, I don't care. So they came to my class, they interviewed me, and they said, wow, you speak well on camera. Have you ever thought about having your show? I'm like, well, I should speak well on camera. I went to your program. So, and then we started a Zumba show actually. And then it got pulled because of copyright infringement, music licensing, things like that. All those things I didn't know about. I was new. I didn't know any of that stuff. So we recorded 2 episodes, and the next thing you know, it was off air just as fast as it was on air. And I thought, well, that was that. And then the other producer called me and said, hey, even though it only aired for a little bit, people are asking for it to come back. Can you do a show that's not Zumba? And can you get music that you have the rights to? And I said, I can try. That's my thing. I'll try. And I had no music. I didn't know what to do. And so I literally called one of my friends from college who used to make beats. And he had his own makeshift studio in his bedroom with the bathroom padded walls for like sound and stuff. And I was in his living room. I said, look, I need music for this show. He's like, all right. So I'm doing the 2-step in his living room. I'm like, okay, what would you do if I wanted to do like a shimmy? He was like, I can add in some maracas. And we built all the first songs from scratch. And then we ended up working with other artists who would let us use their music. So the cool thing about that show was it was local, and 90% of the music was all local artists. So it was really cool, and it was a really fun experience. But that's where I got introduced to the television. It kind of smacked them together. That it was my old school, my old teacher, and then WTKR, things like that. And as far as now in television appearances, for anybody who wants to get on the front of the screen, I would honestly, this is my thing. I believe this wholeheartedly. And I think you are probably going to say, yep, you're right. Sometimes people wait for an opportunity that they can actually create. So with like YouTube and like podcasts, anything like that, you don't have to wait for a show, just create it. Like, I'm going to start a show today. And the next thing you know, somebody says, are you on air? Yes. Check out this channel on YouTube. I had a guest appearance on so-and-so show, whatever it may be. But I think too many people wait for the opportunity to be on air versus creating their own.
Yep, I totally agree, like you said. And well, before I even go into that, I want to even go back, and I'm so grateful that you really broke it down to the journey, because what I often hear people do is they hear your, step 20 and they're like, but that's my step one. I should be on TV because I did this and that. I'm like, no, there was a process of building, and that's what we often do. We hear people's end state. We don't understand all the journey that had to go with that and the connections that, so you started setting yourself up from high school of where you were going to end up. And so I always say, like Cat Williams say, when you have
Yeah.
haters, get 20 more, so don't start hating and like, oh, well, she's already there. It's because there was a process. So listen to the process that really is going to help you in your journey. No matter how old you are, you surround yourself around people who are going to help support you to get there, because they're going to be those haters. Those are the people that you leave off to the side and stick to the people that know. So,
Yes.
so now getting to the part about creating your own show, I was like, hey, I want to do a podcast, and I want mine to be video because I like making sure that there's entrepreneurs out there that's getting some nuggets, something that's going to really help them to on their entrepreneur journey, because entrepreneurship is lonely. It's difficult. Oftentimes people try this trial and error because they can't afford a coach. So I bring people on that are doing what they're teaching in their own business. They're not just coming up with something that they made up. They're actually doing it. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that.
Well, I think it's just important for people to try. What I find with other entrepreneurs, like when people say, Alexis, why are you successful? Because for example, I'll tell you this, and this is going to tie in, and I hope I'm not dissing anyone, I hope. But so here locally, once upon a time, there was this event for fitness instructors. It was called the Latin Fest. And it was by far the largest dance fitness event here. It had about 500 people, and it had different instructors on the stage. And when I was a budding instructor, I was like, I want to be on that stage. And I called them, and the instructors basically said, no, we already planned, no. I said, okay. So I was doing other events at the time, smaller ones, like little fundraiser events, things like that. My first one had about 200 and something people. And the first event that I ever did, I lost so much weight. If you were to look at that video right now, by the time it was time to do the class, I looked anorexic. It was terrible. But I learned a lot from those smaller events. And then I got sick of all like the cattiness in the fitness industry. So I thought maybe let's come together, because Virginia's saturated with dance fitness instructors. And so I was like, okay, let me do one where we all come together. Like, let's come together and we can do a powerhouse event. And I did one, and it had like 500 people, and that was great. And all the while, the Latin Fest is still happening in a different season. And never once did I get invited to that event. Not once. I got to be on the stage only because a friend would say, I'm a team lead. Will you be on my team? But never once did they ask me. So I'm doing all my smaller events. And then finally I said, I think I want to do a bigger event. And I started doing the legwork for it. Okay. And I said, I'm going to call it the Love Fest. It's going to be for like the love of health and fitness. And I'm going to and I looked at the stage, everything was huge. And I just thought I could pull it off. I did an event with 500 people. My goal was 1,000. I talked to the people at the facility, figured out the logistics and the numbers, and they started getting people together. And then I had to explain it. That was the hard part. When you're trying to do something new, it's like you have to explain it. They're like, wait, you want me to do what? You want me to get a team of people? Yes, that's what I want you to do. And so when the first event happened, we had over 1,000 people attend, which was mind blowing. Okay. At the time, that means it was double the size of the event that I wanted to be in. And I thought, that's weird. I wanted to be a part of that event. And that was the holy grail of events. And I had no clue that later on I would be able to create something that just kind of, put it to shame. And then the last year that we did it, we had about 2,000 people attend. Once again, largest numbers I had ever had. It's crazy to instruct in front of a crowd that size. But a lot of people had neglected to just start. Like and I could have waited to have been a part of that event, right? I could have been like, can you pick me? Can you pick me? But I said, no, I'll just do my own thing. It wasn't my intention for it to be the size that it was, but that's what it grew to. And I was just very, very thankful. And it was very weird to look back on it. Like, I really thought that event was what I wanted to do. And never did I ever think I was going to create something that was twice the size of it that everybody else would want to come to, and that would become the creme de la creme of events in this area. So for entrepreneurs, I'm big on just try. Think through it first. Don't be stupid and just throw money at something, but definitely try, think through, and be willing to get a little bit uncomfortable, So, but I love it.
Yeah, being uncomfortable. For me, like that was one of the challenges. I'm part of a group that was one of the challenge. Like every single day, she would do something that would get her out of her comfort zone, like every single day. And it can be something small, but it's like that challenge of just do something that normally you wouldn't do. Now, like, once again, use common sense. We're not talking about go rob a bank or do something that's going to cause people to go, oh, I never thought about robbing a bank. Let me go try that today. No, what I mean is like, pick up the phone and make that phone call. If you want to be a guest post in an article in a magazine, pitch yourself, go write the article, send it to them. Like, get yourself out of your comfort zone and just try something different every single day, or actually do something different every day. Because I would say try is a thought, doing is an action. So you're here to talk to us about is how to increase success during a pandemic. You actually made a huge pivotal shift in your business because like you were on TV and then you were also doing live events, and then COVID happened. I always call it Corona and her children. So what exactly did you and your partner have to do in order to change things?
Yeah. So prior to COVID, that was when we were focused on the Chair One Fitness instructor trainings. And at the beginning of the year, we had this really big goal, which was we were in 18 states at the time. And the goal was to get in all 50. So we had about 14 trainings booked in 14 different states, already had myself and the other leads ready to go. And we were so pumped. I know I had to giggle at myself because this, like literally last month, like Facebook has the memories on it. So the memory popped up. Oh my God, I'm so excited about all these trainings. And I'm like, oh, wasn't I so excited? Didn't even know that we were about to get hit with the pandemic. And so then everything got shut down and it all happened like in one day. It was all the senior classes that I was teaching like live and in person. Hey, Alexis, the governor shut it down and, we'll let you know when you can come back. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, okay, it might be a couple days. And then I got the phone calls about the trainings, and the trainings were the money makers. Okay. So they were like, hey, are you canceling this training because, over here in this state, the governor and this and that. Next thing you know, it was like cancel, postpone, cancel. And then I was like, you know what? If I'm not going to have anything to do, let me just go to Starbucks and I'll just do some work. And I go to Starbucks like I always do. And I go and the door is locked. And they said, oh, drive through only. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? And so then I went home and I was like, okay. And then my friends were like, are you okay? Like, are you going to be okay? Because everything just got wiped out. Like everything, think about it. Everything done. Money stopped. I thought, I'm going to figure it out. Just give me a day. Just give me a day or two. And my friend's like, are you sure? Yeah, I'm fine. And so the next day I woke up early as always. And I knew I couldn't go to Starbucks. And I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have anything to promote. So I went to my little mini fridge and I opened it up. And there was a bottle of water and a bottle of Pinot Grigio. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, I grabbed that bottle of Pinot and I was just useless. Like I had a drink, went to sleep, woke up, had a drink, went to sleep. So that was on a Tuesday. By the time I woke up on Wednesday was when I said, girl, put your big girl panties on and figure this thing out. So then I called my partner. I said, what do we need to go? We're going to go digital. We're going to go digital now. And so we went through everything because a lot changes when you go digital. How you do everything changes. Because when we had our live trainings, I'm very detailed about how a person feels. So, and it's funny that I'm saying this because normally only my inside team knows the little details that I do. So I hope this is a nugget. But at our trainings, the rule of thumb was have the music playing before anybody gets there. They need to be able to follow the music. And when they come in, they're naturally going to have a groove. They don't even know why they feel good, but they do. It was mandatory for my lead educators to keep air freshener in their things at trainings. You spray that room and the entryway. So when they walk in, you got their senses going, their nose is going, they're jamming to a good song. And all they know, they don't know that we did that on purpose. It was just to uplift their mood, right? So when it came down to going digital, wait a minute now how do we create this mood through a screen? So we literally had to think through all those things. And like, we used to have a game that we played in the live trainings. Well, how do you convert that game over to digital? We were very interactive. How do you do that digitally? How do you connect with people through this thing? So once we had it all mapped out, we launched. And what happened next was amazing. So that goal that I had of getting to all 50 states, even though we were only at 18, when we went digital, it took us everywhere at one time. And we didn't even have to pay for 50 million flights.
Exactly.
I was like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that I just saved money on flights and we just got 12 states in one training? So that's what we did. And we're still pivoting now. So even though our main focus is still instructor trainings, in February, we are launching our on-demand workouts for people who are at home, who cannot go somewhere due to the pandemic. Because if you can't go to an instructor in a live class, we still want to give them options. And so we will be launching that as well. And I'm really, really excited about it.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah. So I think anybody can flourish during the situation. It might be challenging, but the one thing I hate is when people use it as a crutch. Oh, due to COVID. Oh, I couldn't do this because of COVID, because of COVID. And I'm like, instead of telling you what you can't do, why don't you tell me what you can do? Can you pivot? Have you tried? Have you explored different options? Because I believe for most things you can. And take advantage of the situation. Like right now, like even for those people who are talking about, being on television and things like that, right now, news stations are not allowing a lot of inside guests. So this is the perfect time where you could talk to somebody in a different state, because now everybody's more open to like this format right here. So you can pretty much be anywhere, and now everybody's used to it. So I would say take advantage of the situation. I am.
Yeah, and you can have your Zoom attire on where you're looking sassy on the top, and then when people, I don't have nothing to wear a nice top, and then have some slippers and some sweatpants on underneath. You know what I mean? Like,
true. Well, I know. I went on this thing. I was interviewing for this grant, the iFund Women grant. By the way, it's a phenomenal resource for women, and their grants are really easy to apply for. I know a lot of people think grants are difficult. iFund Women, phenomenal. So I had made it to the finalist, and I don't know why I had it in my head. I was like, Alexis, you are going to get on this pitch call, and you are not going to be nervous. You're going to wear your cutest top and your panties and your slippers. That is what you're going to do. If you win this thing today, you're going to do it in your panties. That's what you're going to do. And I literally had on the cutest top and my panties and my slippers. And I actually won that day. It was like, it was $10,000 and it was great. And so I won $10,000 in my panties. And I do have on pants today though, just so I have on pants. I do have on pants. But that particular day I didn't. So yeah, people can do anything. Put that cute top on and your panties.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Snicker commercial where that's my favorite all-time commercial, where the guy, they're supposed to be having some type of event, and he comes out and he has his shirt tucked in his underwear, and then he's got the candles and his wife, and he sees guests, but he's like, hi. I guess he forgot. And then he looked at his wife. He goes, wait, we're not doing the Zoom thing? She's like, no, dear. He's like, oh, and it was just like, because that becomes how people are nowadays. It's like, people have been doing it for years. They have the camera up to here and nothing underneath. And I think that is super huge, because like when we're talking about media and getting visible and getting seen, you literally be in the comfort of your own home and doing an interview, and then go finish, cooking dinner, being with your kids.
Yep.
It's the same as doing podcasting.
And so I love that you do yours with video. There's a few others that do with video as well. And I just think that it's much better to have, first of all, it gives you more options. You have a video option and you have a digital or audio. And then it makes it more shareable on social media, things like that. Because I'm not on Instagram to listen to a voice. I'm on Instagram for pictures. So it makes it easier to take that. So I think visuals are definitely great.
And it also helps with connection, because I have a very conversational style, and it's kind of hard to pick up on a person's energy when it's just voice only. So that's why I love the video connection. It's It's better. And then people can see my awesome living room set.
You're silly. But
so what are some other ways that you can help people or teach people or tell people how to actually pivot right now, like, to increase their success during the pandemic and stop using it as a crutch?
I think that, well, the first thing I would encourage people to do is to really, really ask themselves why they're not going forward. Many times they'll find something on the inside, and normally it's like a little piece of fear of failure. I've had to face it before, where they want to do something, but then it looks too scary, or it looks too big, or it looks like it's going to take more time than what they thought, or it makes them feel so uncomfortable that they just retreat back into their comfort zone. I've heard people say things that blew my mind, as far as, you know what, no, I'm totally happy making, 30,000. People who make more than that are stressed. And I'm like, yeah. And so what I realized is it's a fear kind of thing, but I don't think a lot of people talk about how do you get over it. Like, you may say, stop being scared, but it's like, exactly what do you do to not be scared? So I was talking to somebody else, and I said, when you feel that fear, instead of it igniting the feeling of retreat, which is what it normally does, it should ignite the feeling to learn. Like, let me understand this a little bit more. So if somebody wants to do a podcast and they look at all these different articles and they get intimidated, okay, the next step shouldn't be run away. It should be, let me Google some more options on how to do podcast, or let me look up 5 podcasts on Apple and reach out to the people, not to be a guest, but just to say, hey, I want to start a podcast. Can you help me? And see if they'll give you some of their time, just to tell you what their highs and lows have been. Or you can say, hey, I'm about to start a podcast. Would you mind if I interviewed you to learn about your highs and lows when you started? And get that information from somebody else. And that could be applicable to almost anything. If somebody wants to start an e-commerce store and they want to do it on, what's that platform? Shopify. Okay. I don't know anything about Shopify. I don't know what products to use or to get or anything like that. Well, easy. Google is your friend. Learn a little bit more about it. Go to something like Udemy and just say how to start on Shopify. Go to YouTube, best practices with Shopify, right? See if Shopify has experts or mentors that you can actually call. I'm sure they do, because they want to run their business. And if it's like, well, I learned how to use Shopify, but I have no clue what products to use or to sell or to provide. Anytime somebody's selling a product, I'm like, don't just look at what's popular. Look at something that you can personally endorse. What do you like to use? What do you use on the regular? Well, you can say, I love this, because if you love it, it's easier to sell. So I think many times it's just the action items of learning and not being scared to learn. People shut down so easily. And for anybody who's listening, I just want to say, just by listening, they have the potential to be successful, because if they're listening, they're probably the type of person who will try. 90% of the world won't. That's what makes some successful and some not. The people who try and the people who don't. So just by listening, you're already one step ahead of everybody else. And there's so much more room at the top than there is at the bottom. I don't even know why people are so scared to go up there. There's so much more leg room. It's like, go ahead, move up. But no, I'm comfortable down here. All my friends are down here. Move up, get yourself some leg room. So yes. And aside from that, whenever somebody does something, I realize that many of the people who don't stay on track or who can't figure out how to pivot or can't figure out how to grow, they don't track themselves. I think tracking yourself is a great thing. You were showing me your calendar earlier and how organized it is, but you have to know what's going on. Some people don't. It's almost like when I went through premarital counseling. I'm engaged. My ring isn't on right now, but I am engaged.
We won't tell your husband, your future husband, but okay.
It's getting clean. Okay. But we learned that, okay, so there are savers and there are spenders, right? And my dad used to tell me about this. My dad was a checkbook king. Checkbook, you better balance the checkbook. My mom was the spender. Oh, the boots are 100. I got it. And then my dad would be like, you didn't balance checkbook. Now we had an overdraft fee. And so it was the difference between saver, spender. Same thing in entrepreneurship. The one who's not going to overdraw, the one who's going to be on top of their stuff is the person who balances out what they got going on in business. Meaning if you have a to-do list, write it down. Don't think your brain is good enough to remember. It's not. It's truly not. Write it down and check it. Okay. And also put an action item to anything that needs to be done. So if it's like, oh yeah, I am supposed to mail this package off to my son in Bahrain. Well, first of all, I have to get my customs form first. And let me go ahead and get the priority ship box. Okay. So on my to-do list, it's not just going to say send son's gift. It's going to say, make sure to go pick up the gift that you bought and also get the priority box. And don't forget the customs form. Very tangible items. Like if my friend's like, I want to lose weight. My question is, how much weight do you want to lose? Well, I want to use this amount of weight. Okay. How many days a week are you going to work out? I'm going to work out 3 days a week. And for how long? 1 hour each day. Are you going to do weights or cardio? And then I'll map it out. So Monday you have cardio, Tuesday, the next day you have this, and the next day you have that. And if you follow these guidelines by this day, you should have lost this amount of weight where it is trackable. Too many people do I'm going to be successful. I got this. What you questioning me for? I'm going to be successful. I asked somebody what they were going to do. They said, I'm going to be great. I said, what are you going to do to be great? You over here talking, I'm going to be great. Great at what? Telling people that you're going to be great because you ain't got no plans right now. And so making whatever it is tangible, even within a pivot, it's like, how could I pivot? How could I at least try it? Because I believe in failing and failing fast. So try it. If it doesn't work, get up and try something else.
And get the lesson from it. And that's the big thing about failure. It's really about the lesson. Like, okay, what do I learn from what I just experienced? So that way I won't continue to repeat it. Because there's nothing, as a therapist, I say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. And you haven't made no changes, no pivots, no nothing. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do the exact same thing until I get it. That's only if you're doing like trying to be like Shaq and be, try to do rebounds, but he still had to change the way his form was or change the way his foot was. You have to make some adjustments and not do the exact same thing. And so those are all really, really solid and great advice for people who literally are, because there's a lot of people that pivoted in 2020 and that's great, but it's like, okay, what do you do now? Or people who have said, well, I can't wait till 2021 so I can start making these changes. What's the delay? What was the difference between one day?
I'm so glad that you said that. So what happened is like in December of this year, I randomly did an accountability group on Facebook and it was body goals, bye-bye 2020. That's what it was, right? And the thing was, I said, we all probably gained some weight in 2020 and we might not lose it all before 2021, but we don't have to take it all with us either. We can get a jump start, maybe lose about 3 pounds before the year is over. Like we don't have to take all the weight with us. So I started this group and a couple of people who were interested didn't join. And so I said, why didn't you join the group? Oh, I'm not starting until January. I want to get through the holiday and, I got cakes and pies and my fish. And I was like, they're never going to start. What I found is that the second that you set a goal, start today. Start today. If you don't start today, you're not going to start. You will always find a reason to delay it. That's why I did it in December, because I had the idea in December. I said, I think I would want to start this. You know what? I guess I should go ahead and start it. It was random. I thought 10 people were going to join. We ended up with 45. And collectively, we lost over 60 pounds, I think, in the group. And so it's just starting and actually trying. And I think a lot of people just underestimate it. And a lot of people, and this may be off course, but for pivoting or for growing, a lot of people need somebody to talk to, probably somebody like you. And that is not a shameless plug. She did not ask me to say that, by the way.
Thank you.
That is not a shameless plug. Because like, seriously, I feel like a lot of people have deeper rooted issues that they have not overcome. And they don't even know why they start something and then stop something, start something and then stop something. They don't know why certain things give them anxiety, why they feel content with having less. And sometimes it's just a lack of exposure to other things. And sometimes they just haven't dealt with some deeper rooted issues. I know some people where their parents put them under a lot of pressure as children. And so now they hate feeling under pressure. So they settle for a lot. And I'm like, could you please go deal with your daddy issues so that you can be successful? And I believe in it. I've had a therapist for 14 years. And like what you said, it's lonely at the top. You need somebody to talk to. I think anybody you need somebody to talk to who's not your friend and who's not one of your people in your circle who like, yes, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Oh yeah, you go girl. And you don't need those other negative people who are like, I don't even know why you're doing this. Why don't you just go back to a 9-to-5? Like you need a therapist, a life coach, something. You really do. I need it. And I need somebody to get me when I feel alone. It is lonely at the top because not everybody is going to identify with the feelings or the stress, and I can't express that enough. So I think everybody needs to get their emotions in check, their mind in check, so that they can deal with everything that comes with being an entrepreneur. And I believe so many people forget that part. They forget.
Yes. I'm so glad that you said that because, I do therapy and where I'm supposed to in my military, but then for my business coaching, my clients do like this. They'll start doing something and they go, I don't know, you be giving this look. I'm like, what look are you talking about? But they said it's that look like, go ahead and keep talking because I'm just letting you talk because that's not where you stand. And I'm like, I say all that with my face. They go, yes. And then I'm like, okay, what I need to do next? Like they'll get it all out and they're like, okay, let's get started. And it's like, I'm giving you your space to vent, go through your fears, anxiety, all the stuff that you have. And then we're going to start coming up with a systematic plan to continue to move. So my coaching clients, like one of them particular, she was like, you work every penny because I tell my mom about you and she was like, she exactly what you need because she don't let you get away with none of that excuses or any of that stuff. It's like, okay, that sounds good. Okay, so now where are we going from here? Because I'm not going to allow people you're paying me good money. I'm not going to allow you to waste your money by staying stuck. And I often wish I had the same type of coach that I am because I've wasted a lot of money where I would be confused. And when I get confused, I stop doing anything because I don't know what's going on. And then you reach out and that person doesn't listen to you. They're so busy trying to get you to do what they want you to do. So you have to make sure that you find the right coach or if you're having to do a therapist, the right therapist, but go search for someone. Don't use that as your excuse to not do anything.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you said that, that whole thing. I wish I could find somebody like me. What happened is, even when I did that accountability group, originally I did it because I wanted to be held accountable. I had a desire for somebody to hold me accountable and I didn't have it. So I ended up becoming that to everybody else. And even though I did the accountability group, I was like, well, dang, I'm still the one having to hold everybody else accountable. But I was like, okay, well, I'll still play and still do it. But it's so important just to have a good one. And for those who already have a therapist or a life coach and they didn't like them or enjoy their experience, that's normal too. You have to find the one who's a good fit. Because I had two prior to me finding the one that I was with for over a decade. And that whole thing about it being lonely. First and foremost, when you are the lead, you also have to be the strong one. And you can't be breaking down in front of your people. So you need somebody else to break down in front of so that you can be that influential inspiration, the person that people trust. And they're not going to be trusting you if you're like, I just don't know what to do. That's not what leaders should be acting like. Now you can do that with your life coach. You're like, I'm just so sick of it. Everybody's relying on me and I'm stuck. And then that's who you cry to. So you need that person to cry to. The other thing that I would encourage is, and I recently did this, I'm a part of like a bunch of different groups, some for all entrepreneurs, some for just women entrepreneurs, some for Christian entrepreneurs. But in that group, it's a bunch of people who are going through the same thing that you're going through. And then all of a sudden you don't feel as alone, It's like, oh, okay. And then many times if you have a question, you could post it in the group and they'll give you some and they don't really know you. So you're getting honest feedback. And even just like when I was talking about earlier, like if you have an idea for a store, get into one of these entrepreneur groups. They're free. They're on Facebook, wherever. And I'm in one where everybody just posts their ideas for validation. So I have these 3 purses that I want to sell. Which one do you guys like the best? So I have 3 logos for my company. Which one do you guys like the best? And everybody's always chiming in. I like 1, I like 2 or whatever. And so you can get that support for free as well. And so that's more like vague support, just where you don't feel alone. But for that emotional and mental, I'm a huge advocate for life coaches and therapists. And then also being patient with the process, because the first one might not be the best one. And that's okay. Some people be like, oh, I tried that. I didn't like it. Well, try again. Jesus, I'm gonna have to try again too. My therapist retired. Do you know how sad I am? He retired. It felt like a breakup. We were together for 14 years. Said,
you need someone. You need a hug. You need someone to talk to.
My therapist retired.
But it's so true. That's such great advice, because I'm a big proponent of people surround themselves around like-hearted and like-minded people. You join in groups for people that you see that are going and doing something, and, not just trying to get something for free, but really getting value, adding value, receiving value. You end up getting lifelong friends that you connect with, like lifelong business associates or friends, getting your business bestie. Like, you really start finding those people that are in your corner and supporting you, because everyone's in the same space. They're growing and they're learning, and they're wanting to be successful. So they have people cheering you on, compared to having those family friends and people that are like, crabs in the bucket. Oh, where you going? Let me bring you back down here because you think you too good for everybody else. When someone tell you what you think you're thinking, I
think it's also like having somebody who can understand and empathize. Like, when you're on the grind and the hustle, which what is always at the beginning, and for anybody who's starting, it's at the beginning, the middle, and it continues on. There is no end to the hustle. I thought there was. There's not. It's just like when you can just like relate in a simple sentence. Like, if I were to tell somebody, man, I had to get everything together for this production weekend, and it's a 2-day shoot, and it's just been hard. Okay, what's so hard about that is what the most people are going to say. But if somebody actually knows that production, what does that mean? You have to have a location and a videographer and a photographer and wardrobe and people and practice and rehearsal. So people who can understand in one sentence, I feel you. Yeah, that is rough. Because everybody else, they don't know. Like, if you were to say, oh man, I have 4 podcasts to run this week, and I have 2 discovery calls, and I have this and I have that. Somebody who's not, they might not have a clue what you're talking about. Oh, she just talks on the phone all day to people.
Exactly. That's like, even as from doing therapy to business coaching, totally 2 separate things. But the same thing with therapy. I've had people say, oh, all you do is talk to people all day. I say, oh, okay, yep, that's all that I do. And then I'll have fortune meet guys or whoever, and they'll be like, are you going to therapize me? And then I'm like, first of all, you might need one to lose my number, because that means I don't date my clients. The second thing is, no, you can't even afford me. And so then I'll take them through a list of questions. I was like, did I ask you this, and that? They go, no. I go, that's called therapy. And I did not ask you any of those questions. I said, when I'm talking to them, I'm just having a conversation to get to know who you are. But digging deeper is a whole nother thing, and I don't have time for that. So lose the number. Don't be friend requesting me trying to jump in my DMs either. Because that has happened a lot, which is so sad. That's a whole nother conversation. Alexis, I can talk to you all day long, and I think you've given some really great nuggets. Do you have any last words for the listeners and those that are viewing us via YouTube?
Any last words? I would say, I'll just do the highlights of what I already said. I would say, when you feel fear, don't run, learn. Okay. So you know what? Ooh, I should make it sound fancier. When you feel fear, don't leave the situation, learn. There you go. Make it sound fancy. And I would also say, take action items. And I would say, if you look at everything you have to do, look at the list after you've written the list, take them, disperse them throughout the week, so that when you wake up, you're on autopilot. You don't have to think about what you have to do. Look at your darn list. And whatever they are, get them done as fast as you can, and then go on with your day. It's amazing what you can get done in 1 hour. Amazing. You could get, probably, if you divided that thing out in 1 hour of, I'm going to devote this to my to-do list, it'll take you so far. But action. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Love it. And how can and I understand that you actually have a gift for people that are listening.
Thank you. I do. Okay. So for anybody listening, I am giving away one mastermind or hurdle jumping session with me for free. If you would like to talk through some of the hurdles that you faced and having creative ways to jump them, fix them, how to pivot through your business, whatever it is, it's just a quick call with me for that. And also, being that I have talked a lot about Chair One Fitness, if anybody is interested in becoming an instructor, I am giving away one free instructor training, which is valued at $197. And it is a great thing. It'll allow you to be a blessing to other people. It's another stream of revenue. If you want to go out and teach either in person or virtually, we cover all of that in the training. So those are the two things, either one mastermind with me for my entrepreneurs out there, or the one free instructor training for somebody who would like to join the Chair One Fitness instructor family and be a blessing to other people.
And I can honestly tell you, Alexis is being super generous because like you already got to taste her bit of being able to help you break through those hurdles. So I would definitely, for me, because I don't have time to be a fitness instructor, I will be taking that one. And for those that always wanted to, or even just to learn how to do it for yourself, I think it's such a great opportunity, like most definitely. So Alexis, how can people, and also there's going to be a link in the show notes so that way you can book that call with her or book the training session. So that's all going to be there along with all of her details. But can you verbally tell people how they can connect with you?
Yeah, so there's two different things. If it's with me directly, my IG is I am King Alexis. That's IAMKING Alexis, ALEXIS. I am King Alexis. And by the way, for those who have a question about that, somebody's like, "Oh my God, but you're a queen." And I'm like, "Who's above the queen?" They're like, "The king." Hence, I'm like, "You tell me." And so, and then the business one is Chair One Fitness. So that's chair, like sitting down in a chair, ONE for one, and fitness. So Chair One Fitness. And it's really easy to find either one. If you just look up Alexis Perkins or Chair One Fitness in Google, either one of them will pop up.
And is your YouTube channel under the exact same thing?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Alexis Perkins and Chair One Fitness.
Awesome. Well, Alexis, it truly has been a pleasure having you on here, and you will definitely be coming back. I mean, so y'all, I'm holding her to it because she is super amazing. It's been great having you here and teaching us some really great nuggets because so many people are stuck. People are making pivotal shifts. And I really love to always give people nuggets that they can use, tangible things they can use in their life and in their business to actually make a step forward. And this is something that definitely has been helpful. So thank you so much for joining me. And all of my guests, you can be a product of your environment or a fruit of your labor. You decide to move and make a change for 2021.
Thank you for listening to Decide to Move podcast with Monica M. Bijou. If you are ready to make a pivotal shift and take your destined position in the world, then schedule a free discovery call by going to www.decidetomove.com. For all links mentioned in today's show and to listen to previous episodes, go to www.decidetomuvepodcast.com. And remember, we've all been delivered rotten fruit in our past. We can choose to chew on the rotten fruit trying to convince ourselves it's what we want, or we can become the fruits of our labor and create an incredible, fulfilling, and inspiring life and business out of it. You have what it takes to create the life you want.